Hey guys, it's Thorin, also known as 944. Don't forget Thorin's YouTube channel.
Right, I'm here for another episode of Reflections, and my guest for this one is going to be Chameleon, aka Porter, depending on how old school you are and how much you remember about CS back in the day. He was a veteran Counter-Strike player from the very early days, so let's just start there, which is, you are one of the people, I'm guessing, when I think back to the tournaments you were playing, you must have played CS almost, the first beta? From the very beginning, right?
I don't remember, I'd say the first one, but probably maybe version 3 or beta 3 or whatever it's called. I don't remember.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
Because if people don't know, you were one of the people I know, a bit like actually a lot of the other early old school big names in the X3s, etc. Who you lived in Texas already, right? It was kind of the ideal place to be because it was where all the tournaments were, right?
Yeah.
What about when was it that you actually? I know at one point you lived with Rambo, right? Was that actually at the beginning? When did you guys move in together?
No, I never lived with Rambo.
Was it Moto you lived with?
Moto
Right.
moved in to my house. I want to say that was X3, not 3D.
Right. Yes, that sounds about right.
Yeah, he moved here from California. I don't know how that came about, but yeah. And then we'd work, I think he'd be in one room and I'd be in the other. And it just a way to network
Right.
the LAN or whatever.
Right. Were you someone where, one of the things I wanted to ask you was, I didn't really get the vibe from you that you were as much of a nerd as some of the other people. What was your background? Were you always a gamer?
No.
You seem a bit more of a jock to me,
I played competitive hockey, in high school. And I got really good grades, but I was on the front page of the Dallas Morning Sports page at one point.
Right.
So I don't remember how gaming came about. I guess, a friend of mine must have introduced me to Half-Life. And I was like, this is kind of cool, whatever. But I'm very competitive, right? I just hate to lose.
Right.
It's not so much about winning. I just fucking can't stand losing. So basically, once I got kind of serious with it, I started to play online, and on the servers, you'd find anyone that was worth a shit, right? And I eventually started to recruit people like that. Thank you.
He doesn't like ham.
He doesn't like ham. And my kid doesn't like ham, peanut butter, whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, so with Half-Life Deathmatch, you start to, there was, even back then in 1999, maybe.
Yeah.
There's a very small community, and they would say this guy Doc's the best Doc. I'm like, who the fuck is Doc? Never even heard of this guy. And he'd play one-on-one. But I ended up finding 3 or 4 or 5 guys that were pretty damn good. And so we made our team, and that was true. And then from there, the community was never really huge for Half-Life Deathmatch, but it was actually, I think, one of the most skilled games there is.
It was, yeah. It was really hard, right? Air movement and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, you use a Tau cannon and, jump in the air and snipe people or whatever. And then Counter-Strike was the same way when it first started, the early beta versions or whatever. I used to rush with the AWP and the Deagle, and it was deadly accurate. You just literally run into a crowd, boom, 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 kill everyone. They call you a cheater, whatever, fuck them. And it just got worse and worse. When it became, I think Beta 5 was still good. That was the one where you could still
that was the one that started the scope and stuff, and you could do all that, yeah. Yeah,
and then when they got 1 point, whatever the fuck it was the
one where it slowed down the movement, right? That's the one you didn't like.
Yeah, and it basically makes a bunch of fucking nerds that hide in a corner good. It's just stupid to me. I pretty much started losing interest by then because, I don't know, it's like being a race car driver, you put a fucking regulator on the car. It just doesn't make any sense.
I know what you mean. If people don't know, the early Counter-Strike was a lot more almost Quake-ish, whereas, I know what you mean. The later version became a lot slower, and it was a lot about walking around and stuff, sure, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not a real patient person, so it's not,
right.
I'm not going to fucking sit there and camp in a court. It's just stupid. I'd rather, I don't know, anything other than that.
Well, one thing that I know must be a carryover from your sports background is, this is why I guessed maybe you were a jock, is, listen, a lot of people when they were online might talk shit. But you used to talk shit in real life. You used to shout to everyone and kind of get riled up, right?
Oh, love shit talking, yeah. And I'll call a spade, man. Call him a fucking nerd or whatever. It's all good. But yeah, shit talking, fuck. I mean, we played hockey. That's one of the funnest parts of it. You fuck someone up and you just got hammered. Get under their skin. It's fun. Honestly, a lot of the online gaming for me, the funnest part was just mopping the floor with somebody and talking shit the whole time. I don't know. A little immature, but I've grown up a little bit since then.
Okay. One thing that people might not realize about the early scene in Counter-Strike was because unless you lived like in your area where all the lands were, I don't know, SoCal or somewhere where they had their own land scene, famously, obviously, there was loads of players that were like good players, but they were just onliners because they hadn't been to the lands. I can remember quite vividly, not only with your team, but you were a very good LAN player, right?
Yeah. Well, until they slowed the game down, you know.
Right.
I was a very good LAN player. And I don't know how we found like those local lands or whatever, but that's where I ran into like the guys from Riot Squad, like Warsaw and Rambo,
Sickness.
Yeah, Bobby. And then we started to get along. I mean, we didn't have a whole lot in common.
Sure.
Like my real friends in real life were like Scarface.
Right,
and Marlboro Man,
the
and like
VOP guys, right? I see.
Yeah, we would like literally we would get high as hell, smoking weed, and play video games. You know,
sure, classic pastime.
And so we had like nothing in common with any of these other gamers.
Right.
But in time we became friends, and it was some fun stuff.
Let me ask you about that then, because actually a piece of trivia you've just referenced there that a lot of people will not know about the old school is they will know from like X3 that you and Rambo played together. But actually you knew Rambo way before this, right? Who was Rambo to you? I remember meeting him myself. He was kind of like a bit of a nerd, right?
Yeah, actually Rambo was he's very cool for the Riot Squad. And so he wasn't like real straight edge. But yeah, like I still talk to him on occasion this day, like on a cell phone, not on whatever this is, Discord or whatever. But so what happens, like I had True, the Real Untouchables, and Riot Squad, and we would usually beat them, but then they had all their guys local in Plano, and it only made sense that I talked to Warsaw. I'm like, hey, like, why don't we fucking merge, right? Because I'm gonna destroy you guys. Rambo's gonna destroy us. And we put both of us together, we'll fuck everyone up. And we did that, and that became Syndicate. And then we actually, as stupid as it sounds, we kind of created the farm team. So we had I had the true farm team, TFT, and the people that really like idolized us, but weren't as good, but they were like kind of like our cheerleaders, so to speak. But they had potential. I said, fuck it, you're on the true farm team. And not that they were getting paid or anything, and we weren't either, but and then the same thing with Sin. We had like the Sin starters and the secondary team, I think probably tertiary team, which ironically, the secondary team and third team would probably mop the floor with 80% of the people, the teams out there playing anyway. I mean, it was a lot of skilled players.
Right.
And then from there,
yeah, go on.
Kyle Ksharp was in fucking somewhere in the Northeast, and he was in NHG. NHG
something
was the
like
name?
that. Yeah, one of those teams.
Yeah, and I met. Because he was like fucking 12 or so. I don't know.
Sure.
He looked like he was 10 years old.
Young. Yeah.
But he's very, very good. And what was his fuck? Who was in NHG? I met the guy.
I'm gonna guess Bullseye or something, maybe like that. Someone like that.
Fuck, I never liked Bullseye.
No?
I never liked Bullseye. He was in CK3 with BigDog.
Fair enough.
BigDog was kind of cool too. He was still a kid, like 16 or something, but he looked normal, right?
Sure.
He looked like a normal person. You'd be on the street. And he was a shit talker too. Like BigDog wasn't actually his nickname, his handle. It was Big something else, and they made him change it
yes,
for politically correct reasons.
Yes.
But that too is like I don't remember how we got. I think we merged Sin and CK3 into X3, but we left all the old men like
yes, exactly.
Lanyard and Big V, and basically just took BigDog and Bullseye.
Yes.
And like literally, I never really liked Bullseye. He always, I don't know. I just never really liked him.
Enough.
We were teammates, everything, but he thought he's better than he was. He thought he was cool, but he wasn't that cool. And once you got to know him, Yeah, the recordings. I don't give a fuck. Like, it's whatever.
It's all
what I have to impress someone. Sorry, that's my wife over there.
It's all good.
But once we got on the team together, he was all right. He's all right. Not like I hang out with him on a Friday night or anything, but he's all right.
Yeah.
And then somehow we got, I don't know how, somehow I managed to manipulate NHG to merge with us because I met David, which is Loki. He was cool. I met him at an event, right? I'm like, oh, fucking normal guy. Cool. All right. I can fuck with this. And then Dimitri, I can't remember his fucking tag name. Black guy. Anyway, we were at CPL. We all went. I was like, hey, y'all smoke? Like, yeah, went and got high, whatever. Play on the internet. So we got along real well. And yeah, I don't know how we did it, but we basically took the best team from up here in the Northeast, the best team in Austin, us, and RS, and we formed a fucking juggernaut. It was like the Patriots, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it almost impossible to beat us. The only people that beat us are ourselves, really. We fucked it up ourselves. And then that became X3, and then somehow, I don't even fucking remember how we met Moto, but he's like, hey, who could play? All right, come on, man. Fuck it, come on. I got a room. And then that became like 3D. I don't remember all the like I said, it's been 25 years.
Well, here's the thing. Let me pick you up. I've got a few questions specifically. So let me ask about some of the people from the early days. Because one thing that another piece of trivia people might not remember, Chameleon, was in the very beginning of CS, especially if people lived in Texas, there was loads of people who were actually Quake players and were trying to play. Like, if you remember, obviously Fatality played with you guys, but the one that people will forget is that guy Immortal, the like legendary rail player from back in Quake 2 or whatever. He actually played with you in Syndicate, right? Was he a good player?
Yeah, he did. I don't remember much of him, but the Quake players had a lot of trouble transitioning over to Counter-Strike because, and they should have started playing it when it was fucking good, right? Before they ruined it to make it commercial and sell copies. I mean, it like all my kids they all fucking play it. I don't play shit, man. Like I tried playing Fortnite like 3 years ago whenever it came out because my kids just loved it, and I'm like, this shit is just so stupid. I can't do it. You know, building like what you're going to build something to hide behind, and it reinforces, like, in my opinion, the nerd aspect. And I love nerds. But, like, I want to see a skilled player. I want to see someone that does shit that's extremely difficult.
Sure.
Not builds a bunch of shit and fucking hides and goes back and heals. Like, you know, I don't know. It just, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. If you want to make gaming more of a sport, then you need to have players that are just disgustingly good. That will bring people to watch it. I know there's like a bajillion viewers now. I don't like Discord. I just downloaded Discord. You're my first Discord friend.
It's all good.
Don't know. All my kids have it.
Sure.
You know, I mean, this is like, to me, what I guess the modern IRC or something with video.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. What about this? In the early days, when you were in Syndicate, you went to the very first CPLs, if people don't know, those earliest ones that they had. And actually, if people remember, there was a really weird story where obviously people who actually were in the NiP team you played later were on that Eyeballers team who went from Sweden. It was like a rare case of a European team coming over. Do you remember the first CPLs? What was their vibe like?
You know, I don't remember the Eyeballers that much. I remember playing, God, who are the motherfuckers? They were so good. Ninjas in Pajamas. Yes. I remember that game because we knew they were good, and being that I played hockey, I feel like hockey is the most skilled sport there is by like beyond anything. You got to learn to skate, shoot, pass, anticipation, all kinds of stuff. And Heaton is the name of a hockey making company.
That's why he got it from the bag. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, does that motherfucker play hockey? Like, he's a goalie. I'm like, motherfucker, like he's gonna be good.
Right.
You know he's gonna be good. And I ironically, when I called Rambo the other day, because there's a guy on Facebook or whatever. Yeah, I'm on Facebook because I'm old. Like, my wife's like, you're so stupid and old. Get on Instagram. I'm like, I'm on there, but he'll message me from time to time, and because I forget half this shit. Like, I don't smoke weed anymore, obviously, but you know, for a couple years there, that's all we did. You know, and then 25 years passed, and I don't recall everything. And he sent me like a link. I'm like, I didn't remember they were recording shit back then, right? And he's like, and I'd watch a match or whatever, and I was like, fuck, I didn't know this is archived. It's archived on the internet somewhere. Yeah. And so I watched the NiP game, and I was like, oh my god, like, and then like you said, kind of marinated or whatever. And remember, I was like, fuck, we were mopping the floor with these guys. We were dominating them, and we just fucking blew it. We blew it, and
sure, that's
what happens. And back then, it's like, you know, first place is $50,000, which I know 50 grand's not fucking 3 cents now, right? With inflation. But back then, when you're, you know, 19 and it's not a job, you're just basically getting played to have fun. It would have been sizable, you know, 10 grand each or 8 grand each or whatever. But towards the end of the thing, I was like, you could make as much money working at fucking McDonald's or Burger King than playing a video game. At that point, it's like, this is stupid. Ironically, would have stuck around a couple more years. You know,
true.
It would have been worth it. And same thing, like Frank and I, we worked at Gearbox when they were doing Opposing Force. we were just beta testing for them, right? And I don't know, we made fucking bullshit $10 an hour or whatever. But all those key guys at Gearbox, it's a small, I don't know if they're still around, but they're a small company, little office in Plano. Not little, there's a big office, but beta testing, maybe 12 people worked there. When they released that, fucking mega rich, all of them immediately. Because the whole company is owned by them, right? It's like the founders of a company, and they all had like minimal salary, but profit sharing stocks, whatever the fuck.
Sure.
Like Mike Wardwell, what was his name? Intense. IN10S or whatever. He super wealthy overnight. He just did mapping,
All right. I see what you mean.
So it's just kind of funny to look back at opportunities that you're like, this is whatever.
The other path you could have gone.
Passed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like buying the stock market in March of 2009. And then, 10 years later. But so I was saying like the Quake players. I don't remember. Oh yeah, Ninjas in Pajamas. I remember that one. Because I developed a strategy and I kept it super secret and only kept with our guys, like how you could get on top of someone's head and you jump, and the other guy jumps. Yeah, it's like a double jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we boosted and then we did a fucking stairway of people.
Oh yes, you went all the way around to the CT side, right? Yeah, on Nuke.
Yeah, and I was like, guys, if we can pull this shit off, we will fucking destroy them because no one's ever seen it. We've only done it hidden, and then it was me that jumped out, and I didn't do a good job because I was like literally caught by surprise. I peeked around, I was caught by surprise, like, oh my fucking god, this is working, and then just started spamming. Didn't work out so well, but if we would put Kyle up there, we probably would have. But we were off to such a quick lead. There was we beat ourselves. So,
by the way, along those lines, one thing actually that I remember Rambo told me was, and BigDog back in the day, they told me you were the guy who used to love to just go in the empty server and figure out the nades and the tactics and all the nerd shit in a way. Right? You were into that.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? I would shoot, and in fact, I saw in that match, I would shoot people through walls because all you got to know is like what's on the other side of that wall, right?
Yes.
There's a motherfucker hiding in that corner. Well, I love to kill people that hide because they're just little bitches. So. Yeah, I'd shoot at the wall, kill them, whatever. And that's people would say like, you're cheating. No, it's just like, it's just manipulating the map. Like, why wouldn't you?
Sure.
If I can kill you without looking at you, why wouldn't I? And it's actually kind of fun too, because they get really frustrated and you get in their head.
Right. One thing I did want to ask you is this, which is there's a weird story. So I'm going to have to jog your memory a bit on this. If people don't know the order, they had the X3 team and then Moto was the member and you guys lived together and then he left or was kicked or whatever. And I heard the story was he wanted to be like the leader. At the time, everyone was like, bro, we don't need a leader. Like, we're already the best. And then you got his spot or something. So what happened with that?
I don't remember like all the fallout, but like I was already the captain or leader or whatever. And he played hockey too. I think that's what it was. When he told me he played hockey too, I was like, all right, I'll fuck with you, come on over here. Cause again, it's a different type of breed, a hockey player versus, and so he came over and he wanted to, try his method or whatever. I don't remember all the details, but like, nah, man, like my shit works and I'm open to listening, but man, the motherfucker, like, I like him as a friend, but he's a whiny motherfucker, like a little bitch. Huge crybaby, and like that's not how you can get mad or whatever and get pissed, but just don't whine like a little bitch. Like it's not productive, and I know we're all really young, but like true champions of anything that's competitive, you gotta like control your emotions and fucking like buckle down and just calm down and move on. And he would like whine this and that, and he would also have a tendency to bait, right? And you remember Kane? I don't remember the guy's name. I fucking hated that guy so much. The biggest, we called him the master baiter because that's all he did. He used his whole fucking team, let them go out and die, and then he'd peek around and get the cleanup kill. He thought he was like God's gift to fucking video games. And like just such a fucking pussy player, like disgusting. So Moto would do the same thing though. He would get the what was that gun called? The M4A1 or whatever. Not all the time, but he wants to see his fucking name at the top, right? At the top of the board. Well, that's not how you win. That's not how champions perform. Like if you watch, if there's any recording still when I played, I'm the motherfucker. I'm guns blazing going in first. I don't give a shit. Kill me, because the other 4 guys are gonna come in there and destroy you guys. And it's hard to defend against someone that runs in like that with no regard for their stats, right? I don't give a shit. Like I want the fucking money.
Sure. What about, I know also, wasn't there some weird drama where when X3 broke up, if you remember, I heard, I've got a good memory for this stuff. I remember back in the day, because I was actually friends with people like Ksharp, the story was something like, didn't they tell you, like, oh, we're only like breaking up temporarily, but what we'll do is we'll all go and join these other teams and like play, but then don't worry, we'll all like reunite and get like back together. And then basically they just didn't. They just made like 3D without you or some bullshit like that, right? Wasn't it something like that?
Well, I think I was in 3D also. I don't remember.
No, not from memory, but I think there was some like drama about it though, right?
I don't know, because like, so when we lost to the European team, Potty and Heaton, I kind of like was like, fuck it, like, what's the point, right? 25 grand for being the second best team in the world. I could go play fucking I don't know, dominoes or something and make more money, right? Sure. And I was going out partying and stuff, having fun in real life. And
by the way, just as a piece of info for people who don't know, back then events were really spaced out as well. So it was like 6 months to the next big tournament, right? So it wasn't like it was every month. For the big CPLs.
I think what happened was Rambo went with someone to the WCG in Korea or whatever.
Okay.
I think you would know better than I do, to be honest.
Sure.
Because at that point, after that event where we got second place, like me, Brian, BigDog, and a couple, we just kind of checked out. Like,
yes,
whatever, fuck it.
Yes.
And I don't remember playing much after that.
Well, there's one more story, but I've got one I can come up. The next CPL you did go, but you went with Gamers X, if you remember, which was like Trigger from DOP, and it was Steel from that, like he was in 3D himself, the Canadian player later. If you remember, you had that one LAN where you had like one little run at the end. Yeah,
so I think, was that with George and Gusto too?
I don't think it was with that, but you had like Method on your team. You had a few people who were like known players, It was just sort of like an interesting mix of people. I think they just made it right before the CPL just paid you all to come.
Yeah, probably.
Like ringers or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you guys are good still.
Method. Oh, Met. Is he the
Asian kid?
He was from
really
Weekend Warriors, right?
Yeah, the West Coast guy.
Yeah, he was really skilled, I remember that now. Yeah, he was very good. Very good. Yeah. And then Trig is like one of my friends from childhood, Scarface's little brother.
Right.
So Scarface and Trig. So we probably just threw some shit together and said, fuck it, let's throw something at it.
Right.
But I don't remember everything. Like,
no, that's all good. Yeah. What about since you talked about BigDog, you're definitely the guy I should ask this. The problem he has, mate, is because like you, he had a short career and it was at the beginning. Everyone, that's probably the most famous match of all time, NiP versus X3. And if people don't know,
really?
Just because of like the history, like it was like so epic and like the meeting of the Europes and it was the first big one. So not in the sense that like everyone's watched it, but it's just like it's iconic, So the question I would have is this: if people have only ever seen that match, unfortunately, famously, he gets owned in that match because Potty just wrecks him outside on Nuke all the time. And so the sad thing is, I know it pisses him off, dude, because people don't know he was really good at CS at one point in time.
Dude, he was excellent.
He wasn't some bomb player, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you were to put like the best, obviously the AWP is the best gun, right? One shot, one kill. Well, I guess it used to be, and then they dumbed it down or whatever. But I would say, like, without a doubt, in the world back then, I would say me, BigDog, Ksharp,
Rambo, maybe,
huh? Rambo's he's not an op guy. He's more of a submachine guy. But I'm saying like with the op.
Oh, right, like, specifically with the op, right?
Couldn't miss. But when you dumb the game down and stuff, you strafe the A key. When you strafe left and shoot, and the fucking bullet goes like a drunk sniper. Sure. But like prior to that, like we literally had the best people on the planet on our team. And yeah, he got owned, and I think he said fuck it. He's also like a normal guy, and I think he was probably going to college after that,
right,
or something like that. And like, fuck it, whatever, But yeah, that was pretty much the beginning of the end, rather quickly, I think.
Well, by the way, was it actually something where when you first heard that like we're doing these CPLs in Dallas, etc., when you first heard like there's European teams coming, like I don't know, people from Denmark or from Sweden, like NiP, etc., was it actually like an expectation that they would be good? Did you believe the hype that if they come
no,
you thought you were the best?
We knew we were.
Right.
We knew we were. We were. We just, and we proved at the beginning, but they were the best team. We were definitely the most skilled, but it is what it is. It's like it's a team game, and everyone has to hold the position. If you get your face smeared, the team loses. But yeah, we're not expecting it to be good.
I have an obvious question if someone's old school, but I think for new school people, this will probably shock people. But I always have to tell people, back in the day, if you played online, so not at the CPLs, there was no anti-cheat. There was nothing. So in theory, even like a real LAN player could just install cheats and be playing online. Do you think people cheated?
I don't know, right? Because people like say Funk cheats. And like, if you see this guy in real life, I mean, he looks like he would be the suicide bomber,
He
right?
looks like the guy who stuffed in a locker, doesn't he? Exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
he got picked on a lot, I'm sure,
True,
right?
I've no doubt, yeah.
You got to kind of assume, right? Like,
sure.
I mean, probably did he? Probably, but again, like people thought I cheated because I shoot you through the wall, but that's
right.
And so I can see both sides of the coin, and I like to this day, like I just told you, I just installed Discord. I don't fucking know about computers. I have a Alienware. I don't know, like a $4,000 laptop, but it's for my business.
Right.
But I don't game anymore. And even back then, I don't even install drivers. Like I'd have, hey guys, can you ghost my computer or whatever the fuck it is and give me updates? And they would do it for me. I should have figured it out how to do it myself. But with that being said, I don't know how hard it is to do cheats back then or how easy. And if I wasn't competitive, I would say if I was just having fun, like right now, I would download some cheats just to piss people off because it's fun.
Sure.
I would put on some cheats and just fuck with it. So yeah, I'm sure they did, but people also said like, oh well, Funk played good on LAN. I don't know. That's in Florida, bro. Like whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I think some people did, and but who fucking cares? It's at the end of the day, I know it's competitive and it's a fucking game, man. Like. Sure.
What about
athletes use steroids, right? Sure. They get away with it. So,
anyone's looking for an edge, of course. Yeah. By the way, one question I have is obviously Ksharp was the famous name back then. Like he was people don't know he already was like some Michael Jackson. Like he's a prodigy, and everyone was obsessed with him. If you remember, it was actually quite weird in a way, wasn't it? Like all these nerds were like in love with him, basically. But I want to ask you this question: the hype was real, right? He actually was that good, right?
Huh?
He actually was that good at the game. The hype was real, right?
Yeah. So like, I feel, right, and I have my own opinion, I feel I was as good or better than him before they changed it over the
right.
or whatever. But yeah, he was always very, very, very good. And the thing is, he was clutch. That's the thing.
Right.
He was fucking clutch. So he's Tom Brady down, 6 points, minute in the game. That motherfucker, like he would take out 4 guys. So yeah, absolutely. He was absolutely as good as a hype. Right. 99% of the time. It's like, if we're down and we have one person left, if it's not Ronald or Kyle, if it is Ronald or Kyle and there's like 3 guys on the team, we feel we've got a pretty fucking good chance, like to win. So,
by the way, just give people a sense, because back then, I agree with you, because the early versions of the game were more skilled and definitely allowed like more individual skill, because your team was basically like the all-star team and you had all the best players. It's not like the other team had equally good. I remember you guys used to basically win almost every single game in America, right? Like I think you might have lost like 3 times ever, something insane, right?
I don't even know how many we lost. It wasn't much, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, it was a no contest. It was the fucking what was the basketball team that went to the Olympics? The U.S. basketball team.
Oh, the Dream Team.
Yeah, and they like
you never lost.
It's like playing. It's like me having a race against someone in a wheelchair. Like it's not even fair.
Yes.
And that's kind of why. I mean, that's why like real professional sports have salary caps and all this other stuff to make it to where you can't just fucking dominate for decades.
Yes, especially because, like you said, I mean, you said it perfectly. The difference is in a sport, just because of the salary, you'd have been split up. It'd have been like Ksharp and Rambo versus you and BigDog versus Moto and this guy, wouldn't it? But
they'd have an expansion draft. They'd have an expansion draft, and
because you wanted to win the money, you could just put everyone together and just win for sure, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like it was no contest. And they probably should have done something like that. But I think because the motherfucker, we were making shit back then.
True.
A few $1,000, stupid. We got a free computer. But yeah, I think you would have had people quit. But like if they're, I mean, I really don't even keep up with what the games are. Like I have no idea. I'm so ignorant to what goes on in the gaming community. But whatever the competitive game is now, like if they're still paying people 6 figures, $40 million a year, $500,000 a year, they should fucking make an expansion draft and say, you're buying this team, you're going to pay whatever the league is. I have no idea.
Sure.
I mean, I still talk to Angel pretty often, the CPL. but whatever the big league is, they should say, treat it like, if you want to make this shit serious, treat it like a fucking sports team, and make an expansion draft, and make waivers and free agents, and other, like, that's a system that's been tried and true for fucking like, I don't know, decades. And if you really want people to take it seriously, it's got to be done that way. And then I think it would be more balanced. Like, I don't know, what is the big game? I have no idea. What is it? I
mean, the still CS. It's Counter-Strike 2 now. It's like a pretty big game. League of Legends as well. Yeah.
Really? It's still Counter-Strike?
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly different. It's not. Here's the thing. It's even more dumbed down, but it's still a big game. Yeah, it's massive.
Is it pretty fun? Like, would I have fun playing if I downloaded it?
Maybe as casually, but I don't think you'd want to play it competitively necessarily. And
I'm not gonna. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, they're gonna have to do something to, if it's not already in place, but they're gonna do something to make it.
Let me ask you a question. You referenced earlier Frank Nuccio. If people don't know, when the CPL was around with Angel Munoz and all that stuff, etc., I remember the story. Back then, CPLs used to be Quake at the beginning, but I remember Frank Nuccio was the guy who convinced them, like, we've got to do Counter-Strike, like, it's this big game, it's taken off, blah, blah, blah.
Because it's a team, because
give me some thoughts on who this guy was, because he was kind of a visionary too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He incorporated, like, hey, it needs to be a team game. If you're going to try and sell this as a fucking sport, it needs to be a team, right? And, like, honestly, I think if they would have done Half-Life Deathmatch, that was the fucking, like, the sickest game. And it was very entertaining. And, like, it's better than Quake. Quake to me has always looked a little blurry, for lack of a better word, right? Half-Life was pretty sharp, but
I know what you mean. If people don't know, in Quake, it's almost like there's an inertia when you move, but in Half-Life, it's really snappy, isn't it? Like, it's really
like, I never played Quake, but I tried to play Quake 2 or 3 or whatever it was, and I was like, I don't like this shit. Like, same with the Unreal Tournament. It's like kind of like you bob up and down. I'm like, this is fucking make me dizzy or something. But yeah, he said you got to do a team game, and you have to have brackets. He basically formatted all this stuff for Angel, and they got together and said, okay, that works, and then Angel's like, fuck it, let's get the sponsors. And I'm not sure how it all shook out exactly who did what, but yeah, together they figured out, if you put a team game in here, and then he did like the Cal League, the online league, right?
Yes.
Work with Angel on that, and then that made standing. It made it like like a sport.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where it went from there, but yeah, like pretty instrumental on how the process is, and the tiers and the teams and the stats and all kinds of shit went into it. I remember like Jerry Wolski, he died, but he was like the webmaster for Angel and Frank and what was his name? Polish. He was always working on the website to do like the back office and the brackets, because I helped with a little bit of it, but yeah, it's pretty complex, and I guess it really founded the beginning of like team esports or whatever the fuck it's called now.
One thing I think people won't be able to understand in the modern day is back then, even though you retired a lot sooner than other players of your era, actually most of your generation of like the first generation of players all had the same story. Nobody could ever have dreamed it would be a huge thing on TV and Twitch and millions of dollars. And everyone says the same thing. They all say, I wish I'd just stuck it out 5 years or 10 years, or I could have been like whoever the big star is now. Give me a sense back then, when you used to play these tournaments, like, was it just like, I'll play for as long as it's going on, or there's a tournament next? Did you have a sense it would even continue as a game?
I mean, I don't think anyone really thought about like professional gaming. Like, they tried to pitch that dream, right? They put the fucking carrot in front of the horse and just keep on walking. But
it seemed a bit cheesy at the time, though, didn't it? Like, it seemed a bit unbelievable, the dream they were selling, though, right?
Yeah, well, because here's what happens, right? The sponsors come in, they give, I don't know what the fuck they give them, $10 million or whatever to put the event on, and we get 50 grand. Man, fuck that.
Right.
Fuck that.
Sure.
If someone's going to come watch us play, and they're that interested in watch us play a video game, which I think is fucking hilarious, but if they're going to do that, the players should get the money, right? I know you gotta build a league and
sure,
pay for shit, but like without the players, there's not shit. So I think we all kind of started to realize that, and it's like, oh, it's a $500,000 tournament. I mean, take like poker, right? Like the WSOP. If it's $10 million prize, that's all going to the players, like 99%. And so you can fucking place 15. Like, can you imagine playing video games like nonstop for what you spend on a job, 40 hours or whatever, and then going to a tournament and getting 15th. And now 15th in the world is pretty good, and you walk away with like $300, and
Sure.
I mean, probably have a suicide watch put on that motherfucker, you know?
Sure.
So, it just, they kept pitching it. Hey, but at the end of the day, 50 grand, even back then, wasn't shit, right? You got to split between 6 people because you got a backup, and you're not going to fuck them. You know, 8,500 each, whatever, 6 to 848. Yeah, $84, whatever. It's nothing. I mean, even for nerds living at home in their mom's basement, it's just not shit, right? And until they were able to acquire sponsors that I think Ronald told me, like, some of the early sponsors would like sponsor a team, right? Well, that's the way to do it. And then they
Yes.
I guess they would like rent them a house and get all their computers and shit paid for. And then they'd pay them a salary.
Yes.
And honestly, I don't know the ins and outs, right? But I heard people getting a salary or whatever. And if you get a salary, then here's the thing. You need someone like fucking Ksharp to be able to get bonuses, performance bonuses, right? For whatever, I don't know, frags or kills or wins, whatever it is. You win the Super Bowl of video games, then you should get a fat ass bonus, right?
Yes.
That's how you incentivize people to really become true champions of anything.
Sure.
Otherwise, you know, if I got Dave here, Moto, next to me, and he's crying like a baby, you know, because we lost and we make the same money, and I'm trying to keep the team together, that's not going to go over well, right? And same as Kyle, like, or Rambo, like, again, if it's Kyle or Rambo left and there's 3 guys left in the team, we're pretty fucking confident we're still going to win, and they should be rewarded and compensated for that because that's the GOAT, right?
Sure.
You know?
Are you someone where, when you used to play back in the day, were you someone who just played, did you actually, aside from practicing for like strats and nades stuff, in the game, did you just play off instinct? Were you someone who tried like aim training and all that sort of stuff? Did you just play?
No, yeah, I didn't, you know, I didn't really even figure that out that like Kyle would do that. He would want, when they changed the shit where the recoil like does this
Spray
like
pattern,
yeah, he would practice that. I didn't take it that seriously, right? To me it was just like playing hockey. Like I'm out here having fucking fun, and if I can dominate at the same time, that's great, right? And let's be realistic. If I would have been fucking 25, my instincts probably wouldn't have been as sharp as like when I was 19.
Sure.
Or reflexes rather. So I think it's always going to be more geared towards just kids that are like 14, 15, 16, because they don't have bills. They don't have rent and shit or mortgage. They got all the free time in the world. They got all summer with no school.
Sure.
Those are always probably going to be the best, like the marquee players. And me, I didn't, like, in high school, I didn't drink alcohol. I didn't smoke pot, nothing. I went to school semi-regularly. I played hockey. We traveled every weekend, and we were fucking serious about sports. So, you know, but then after high school was college, and it was a whole new ball game, right? So I don't know these kids that turn it like BigDog, like Brian. When they go 18, are they done? Or are they gonna go in the real world? I don't know. Like, how do they make that transition, or do they, or don't they? I don't know.
Sure. What about one thing I did want to ask you was, are you a guy where you look back? Do you ever think, you said you talked to Rambo and he told you about, someone told you could go look up the X3 game, etc. Do you ever do you see gaming stuff now? Does it make you think of the esports stuff? Do you ever think like what could have been, or do you ever have those thoughts?
No, I mean, I don't really live life like with regret or anything, but no, I don't. It would have been nice to make 6 figures playing a video game, but I don't see. And like someone like me would have been very marketable to the public, right?
Sure, yeah.
But
yeah. Especially the personality and all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, if I could, not drop F-bombs, which I can.
Sure.
But this is me. This is my personality, you know. But if you could have found someone like me that's very marketable and like presentable to the public, that would have been killer. Like Jonathan Wendell was, just a normal kid.
Yeah, yeah.
But if they could do that, that would have helped. But I don't regret. No, like, fuck it. What I regret, really, no shit, is not staying at Gearbox. Because when it all comes down to it, people say money doesn't solve all your problems. It doesn't, but it sure solves most of them, right?
True,
and so back then I was like dabbling in what the fuck is the mapping program? I can't remember, Worldcraft?
Something like that, yeah.
Worldcraft? Yeah. And so I was like, because I would do the strategy or whatever and know the timing between choke points, whatever. So I was starting to build my own map.
All right.
And I thought that was kind of fun, like creating something. And if I would have stayed with that, that's the shit I regret, leaving Gearbox, because who would have thought? Who would have thought? And that's immediate money, and that's a lot of money. And I guess every copy they sell, it's like a music artist.
Yeah, like a residual or a royalty or something. Right?
Yeah,
say, right.
Yeah. But no, I don't regret. Like I think I didn't. Like I said, after the game we lost against the Europe team, it was just like, whatever. Like we were literally the best in the world, and we lost, and that. I guess we were just pussies. We're like, fuck it.
Well, I've got a good question for you. Since you're a hockey fan, give me who if someone didn't see you play CS, what hockey player would be the comparison? Give me the comparison.
Oh man, that's not fair. But I mean, I would say like my favorite hockey player of all time. This kind of tells you my personality. Mary Lemieux. Mary Lemieux is like the most.
Same. He's just a monster.
The sickest. Oh, like he's the sickest, most talented player on the planet. Gretzky is the best. Sure, yeah. I mean, but you fucking put. Okay, you know what? The Edmonton Oilers of the 80s. Do you know anything about hockey?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the 80s Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah,
that was us. Like how the fuck is anyone going to beat them?
Right.
No wonder he has 200 and some odd points in the season.
Yes.
Shit, you're playing with Paul Coffey and Mark Messier, Yari Curry. I mean, I go on and on and on.
Stacked, yeah.
It's disgusting. You put Mario Lemieux, Mario comes out there, first fucking shift, first game, goal, and he just undressed and then the guy, like, he gets Hodgkin's disease, cancer, beats it, comes back, dominates in a era of low scoring NHL league.
Era, exactly,
Yeah, like, and he fucks everyone up. And then he trains Jaromir Jagr, teaches him how to be the best. And then he trains Sidney Crosby. Like, the motherfucker's like a god. Yeah. But yeah, I would say, like, I wouldn't call myself Mary Lemieux, right? Sure. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even watch hockey anymore. Like, I watched this year because Big David's sick, but I don't know. Okay. Pavel Datsyuk. How about that?
Oh yeah, he was very skilled. Yeah, would play,
very
like,
skilled.
Two-way player.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say something like that back in the day. But again, once it went to past Beta 5 or whatever, yeah, I was good, but I wasn't great anymore. I mean, I don't have the patience for that shit, and you know, it's all good. Had my fun.
Right, here's the thing. It was cool to catch up and get a lot of these stories. At the end of this interview, do you have any final message for people? Do you want to thank anyone or say hello, shout someone out?
I don't know, man. Like I don't talk to anyone. Like even my friends in real life. I got 3 kids and a wife, and we got a company. We build outdoor environments.
So you winning, mate? You're doing great. Yeah, you're winning at life.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Thanks to whatever Angel. Thanks to Angel. Thanks to Frank. Thanks to my teammates. Whatever. Thanks to anyone that fixed my computer was broken, because I don't know a fucking thing about them. Like, literally, I'll go buy a new computer now because if I get frustrated, like my other laptop, because we have a program for building outdoor environments called Structure Studios, and it uses the Unreal Engine, I think.
Okay.
We designed their pool and everything, and I couldn't get, literally, for whatever reason, the Wi-Fi. I think I probably need a new network card. Fuck it, I just bought a new computer. I can't do it. Okay. So thank you guys all that would always fix my drivers and stuff. Is this technology thing eludes me, and it's very frustrating for an old man like me.
Everyone needs a support network, and mine is, of course, my Patreon community, the Scrominati, who in many ways, they're the Sonny to my Cher, saying, I got you, babe. So this video and all the others on my channel were kindly supported by the following names: Ahmed Hadju, Matt Pugnaccio Rakula, Adam Tomlin, Animosity, Jensen Go, Tosh, Toucan, and you know it. Jerky's Minion, my main man, always going to be referenced, one of the best patrons of all time. Would you like to ask a question in my AMA? Maybe you want to suggest a topic or a guest to say on my channel? Do you want teasers? Find out who the upcoming Reflections and Talk to Thorin interviews are. Maybe you want to do one of those long discussions where you get to set the topics we talk about. Well, if any of these or others appeal to you, put your money where your mouth is. Join the Scluminati today via the Patreon link in the description box below.